What's the name of the podcast?
So
Oh,
that's actually
concentration rap.
we should have fucking figured that out before I started recording because I don't have a name. I don't know, fucking conscious hip hop takedown or I
That
don't
makes
know.
it sound racially motivated.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it is.
And okay, it's only racially motivated for this episode because we're attacking a white boy.
Yeah, we're only attacking.
75% racially motivated.
We're attacking 75% of Logic's DNA.
Yeah, I guess intro to this is now we're gonna be doing a show, Howard and I, where we shit on or occasionally praise conscious hip hop albums. Honestly, I don't know how long the series is gonna go for. Because mainly there's just 3 albums that we want to do, and then everything after that is just whatever we feel like. But
Yeah.
one of the albums I did want to do was "Everybody" by Logic, which I haven't heard in a while. Last time I heard it was when I did a discography run for Logic, which that was a exciting time to be alive. And then I haven't revisited anything from this since because it's pretty fucking bad.
Yeah. So I haven't heard this album since I also did a Logic discography run in oh, when was that? Was that during COVID?
I don't know. I did mine like when No Pressure had just released.
Holy
So
shit, I did mine in late 2019. What the fuck was wrong with me?
yeah. What year was No Pressure?
No Pressure was 2020.
Okay,
Was
yeah.
July
So
of 2020.
I did mine in 2020 then.
So I was like 6 months out from having listened to every Logic album at that point.
And then he released a couple projects after No Pressure, and I have not heard a single thing. I don't intend on changing that.
I've only heard Bobby Tarantino 3 because it was short. So I was like, oh, why not? I'll throw this on. I was kind of bored. And
Bobby Tarantino 1 and 2 are so fucking bad. There's like I think one song in the first one that's pretty alright, and then like a span of 3 songs that's alright in the second one. Everything else is fucking just atrocious.
So Tim, I see that you're already not qualified to talk about Logic in any serious manner because you don't understand the conceptual genius behind the Bobby Tarantino trilogy. Okay.
Well, yeah, you see, album Logic is all about the message, but mixtape Logic is all about
okay,
having a good
The
time
vibe.
at a party.
So
The vibe.
okay, Logic. Okay. Sir Robert makes you cry. Logic makes you think.
Shut the fuck up,
Bobby
man.
Tarantino makes you laugh.
Just shut up, man.
Okay. And this is what I'm trying to say is that Bobby Tarantino, okay, it's like being in Pulp Fiction. It's like being in a Tarantino movie. It's good. So remember when like Eminem made that song Rain Man, right? And it was like, dude, he was like literally Rain Man for like 4 minutes. It was crazy. It's like, who does that? Logic is doing that because his music is a collection of the references and ideas, a conceptual concepts from the rap he loves.
Of a lot of references.
Yeah, no, and he puts it into a new, fresh package, not unlike Quentin Tarantino. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this guy. He made this movie called Pulp Fiction in 1994. Awesome movie. My favorite movie. I have the poster on my freaking wall. And let me just say, it's like, that trilogy is genuinely one of the most creative and inventive and awesome pieces of music of all time. And what's unfortunate about being a Logic fan like me, and because I believe in peace, love, and positivity, when you listen to all these albums, it's like, okay, it's really hard because some of these albums are so gut punching because Bobby is taking all of these references and all these ideas and he's putting into a package that is so concentrated and so powerful. He's taking the likes of like Kendrick Lamar and even Kendrick Lamar, and
Don't forget
he's
J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar.
J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, a little bit of Kendrick Lamar, and some Black Thought, and he's putting it all together into this
Not a lot of
album.
Black Thought though.
I mean, I would say there's a lot of Black Thoughts in this album.
I need me a Black Thought.
I don't want to be a part of this podcast. I hate hearing you guys speak.
Anyway, my point is that Everybody by Logic is one of the greatest albums of 2017.
No, it's one of the. I would even go further than that and say that it is one of the greatest albums to drop on May 5th,
May
17.
I would say maybe the third best. Like
Hold on, let
maybe
me
like
see.
top 5.
Let me see what other albums dropped then. Watch it. Oh, actually, a shit ton of albums dropped on that day. The fuck?
Huh.
Mac DeMarco, Russ,
Blondie at the Drive-In, their
Grateful
reunion
Dead,
album.
um,
Sun Kill Moon.
I
Amanda Palmer. Chris Stapleton. Slow
several of
Dive.
these got to be better than everybody though.
So yeah, everybody like in the top 50 best albums that came out on
On that day,
May 5th of
May 20.
May 5th of 2017. Got to be one of them. So
Uh,
Blaine, what do you think about Logic and Everybody?
Well, Everybody's a very controversial album, and I am aware of how mixed the reviews of this album are, but I'm not too sure why people are negative about it. I really like the concept Logic presents in this album with his storytelling and the overall message. I find it to be really great. He's talking about like equality and how to be good to each other, and I find the way he's talking about these
uh,
themes and tackling them to be genuinely sweet. There is a
Yeah.
hint of of he's being very genuine. Some
Yeah.
say it doesn't feel authentic, but I think that he's being really genuine here. If anything, there are some lines that feel. Oh no!
why did you just say the N word? What the fuck?
Because I was trying to transition into. I'm literally just reading the most positive review of this album on Rate Your Music, and it's a
It just
7 out of
starts.
10.
What
Listen,
the fuck,
please,
man?
you have to
Alright.
cut that word out.
I'll cut the word out, but I'm keeping the fucking rest of
Okay,
it.
Tim, drop an N-bomb so you'll remember.
Logic is like an artist that a lot of people would say is worthless by and large, but
True.
uh, and for the most part I agree, but he has shown the ability to make some good songs. I think Under Pressure, the song, not the album, is really good. I think The Spotlight is really good. I think I like Young Sinatra 3. I think Ballin' is a fun song. A lot of the Young Sinatra songs are pretty good. The problem is, I mean, even like I like the Young Sinatra mixtapes, but even even those were like filled with like fucking terrible skits where he had like this fucking goofy character being like, "Oh, I'm gonna sign you to a label," and he's like, "No, man, I'm the best rapper in the world, and I'm not gonna join your label." And it was just fucking really juvenile and terrible. And then after Under Pressure, you get fucking whatever True Story or whatever that's called,
Incredible
which is
true story.
potentially the most nothing album I've ever heard. It's like not bad, it's not good. There's like nothing to it other than just some cringy skits with a voice actor I like, but like the writing is just fucking terrible because he's just like, oh, we're 500 years in the future and Logic is the greatest artist of all time. It's really fucking masturbatory, but like in a really like unclever way. Um, and then Logic went on his like cringe circuit with shit like Supermarket and Confessions of a Dangerous Mind and fucking like the Rick and Morty sketch on the fucking Bobby Tarantino 2, which by the way, being a rapper and having two of your biggest features be Rick, Morty, and Neil deGrasse Tyson. I mean, it's fucking over, man. But right before his cringe circuit, we get Everybody, which is an album that I feel like a lot of people at the time thought was good. Some critics thought it was bad, and I don't think it's really held up that much as Logic
Well,
has become more of kind of a symbol of cringe. I feel like Everybody kind of doesn't get looked at as that positively anymore, but I think people forget how fucking terrible this album really is. It's pretty impressively bad, I think.
It should be mentioned that Everybody was essentially Logic's mainstream breakthrough. It had a mainstream hit on it in 1-800, and it was like Logic was suddenly a big deal. I remember when this album came out. Yeah, 1-800 was a mainstream hit. A lot of people really liked and cared about this album and the song when it came out. And I feel like that 1-800 sort of uh, it doesn't belong on the album, frankly. And it's sort of like cleanliness and personalitylessness of it sort of gave this impression that Logic was a pop star and made kind of poppy, almost like Drake-ish kind of like being a Drake-ish kind of figure.
Which, I mean,
Um,
to be fair, Young Sinatra 3 basically just bites Drake style, like, for the entire project.
no, but I mean
So,
like pop Drake, not
I
even
know,
like
but
rap Drake.
he did Pop Drake in that mixtape too. So
Yeah, but
this isn't really his first attempt at it. It's the first one
yeah,
that
but
worked, like,
yeah, no.
success wise, but
What I'm trying to say is that, like this gave off the impression that Logic was a certain type of artist, and he rubbed off a lot of his hip hop sort of edginess, and sort of like he was never an edgy artist per se, but he had like a very straightforward hip hop approach, especially on an album like Under Pressure or even Incredible True Story, which had pop elements, but was mainly a rap album. Every,
was there even a
1-800.
single on Incredible True Story?
There were a few, I think, but what I'm trying to say is
I
that
can't think of a single
1-800.
song on that.
Yeah, the album sucks, but what I'm
Yeah,
trying to say is that 1-800 is just a pop song, right?
yeah,
This is not a pop album, and that sort of veneer of popularity on that song, that sort of, like, casts a shadow over the album is completely inaccurate once you, like, actually peek in and you see what is essentially an embarrassing, floundering mess, attempting to be T-Pab 2 years later with, I guess, like, saucier, more clean production and, with an even grander scale, trying to basically give a libtarded readjustment to T-Pab's message from the point of view of a biracial guy who doesn't look biracial. Um,
yeah.
just
I
like
don't really
it's
feel
this
like we got to go track by track on this, so we can kind of just go into like shit he
yeah.
says in here. But
Well,
it's
one
like,
one of the things here, like, that comparing Logic, like, here versus, like, earlier,
mhm,
is what the fuck happened to his flow? Like, Logic was not the like, he's a guy that had a lot of, like, technical skill in the sense that he could rap fast and stack rhymes, like, that was n
yeah,
not secret to anybody, but here, he's just doing this knockoff Kendrick flow the entire album, but, like, sped up and, like, with a goofier energy,
yeah,
and it's just so grating, it's the same on every fucking song. Like, it's just the
yeah.
same tone, it's like, the
I'd
entire
be
album is
fine
a
with it.
flat line of, like, faux gospel grandiosity with just nothing underneath it, and, even, like,
Yeah,
7-minute tracks just fucking pass through me
so many
because
long tracks on this thing.
yeah. And but, like,
Uh,
they have no weight to them. They're fucking like they're like these straight shots of, like, thin soup. Just like they're nothing. Like, you don't feel anything. They have no aftertaste. They're just like these oddly lumpily constructed, like, giant gospel infused rap epics with no, like, sense of, like, structure or ideas or hooks, and their
yeah.
pace just constantly moving forward, always moving and moving and moving. And no sonic ideas besides Logic's own voice are inherently unpleasant, but they're all just so, like
So,
plastic and just don't feel anything listening to them.
do Jews do weddings? Because I have an analogy. Um,
Weddings?
yeah, like you ever eat like a wedding cake, right? You know
I
how
don't
like
think I yeah. I
so
don't
they
think I
have like
have, but sure.
they they have these like super fucking like fancy designs with like the fondant, right?
Yeah.
It's like, really fucking delicately done and like a lot of like polish to it, right? Then you taste it and I don't know if you've ever had fondant, but it is fucking disgusting. It has like no taste. I feel like that's a good, like, musically, I feel like that's a good allegory for this album because it's very polished. I think every song on this I would say is pretty competently produced. I think there's even 2 songs on here that I would say sound great on a production level. The vocals all sound clean. There's a lot of like little touches and beat drops and vocal skipping, and there's a lot of like there's a lot of time in the studio cleaning it up and polishing it and adding to it and adding to it, and it's all for something that has no taste, and what taste it does have is really bad. you know
Yeah.
um I feel like I said, America and Take It Back, which are 2 really obnoxious songs, some of the most obnoxious songs on here. But the production on both of those is legitimately great, I'd say. And like I said, I don't think any of this had bad production other than maybe like the Juicy J song. Um, but and as far as Logic's flow, I mean, like you listen to a song like The Spotlight, and his flow is so good on that. Same with a lot of the Young Sinatra days, and even like some of the Under Pressure stuff. I don't think his flow is terrible here, but it gets really old, and there's not a lot of variety here. So that's pretty much all I can say about it musically. Then you have to go into like the content of what he's actually saying, which we can skip all the tracks, which is just like, oh, love each other, and it's just like fucking nothing, like hippy dippy bullshit.
Yeah.
Then we
I
get
mean,
into the racial stuff, the biracial stuff, and the fucking skits. And I feel like, oh, and the anxiety song. I feel like those are
yeah.
like the 4 most interesting things to talk about on this album.
Well, just to touch on the hippy dippy bullshit, because I do feel like it needs to be acknowledged. It's
Hmm.
one of those things that you can't exactly despise because there's just so little of an idea or coherent philosophy behind it.
Sure,
You know,
sure.
like it doesn't make me
Well, actually,
mad. I'm
no,
not like,
no, no. I
you
think
know.
you can. I think you can get mad at it, but it has more to do with the skits than the songs themselves.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, but
I think the I think his plot twist in the skits is kind of morally reprehensible a little bit. you
well,
know?
there's that, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm more talking about like within the songs themselves. And it's just like it's one of those things where it's like you hear it and it's just kind of like, yeah, sure. you know, yeah, people should be treated equal or whatever. But it's just so unnecessary and
But the
the
crazy thing,
all the
but people
references to
shouldn't be treated equal though. Some people are fucking assholes. Some people deserve to be shot. You know? It's like some people deserve to die alone. Some people deserve to be assaulted in public. It's like we're not equal. Some people are fucking
Okay,
pieces of shit.
I'm coming back for like 5 seconds, Tim. I feel like you're kind of missing the forest for the trees. I think I think that's definitely not what he's talking about there.
Yeah, no,
He
I
does
mean,
talk about how like anyone who's right wing on this album, or no, what does he say? Like the worst people on earth equal rights.
He said that I forget that.
Yeah. So he's
Um
not definitely not saying everybody. You can be morally reprehensible. It's just that his
well, that's
definition
like I mean
of reprehensible isn't
the,
people who are
that
okay,
was
selling
my
you're
or
takeaway
okay.
buying drugs.
that was my takeaway the first time I listened to the album is like he just the whole album contradicts itself so much because like on one hand you'll have these like vague god sentiments, and then other times you'll have like this fucking like imagine John Lennon like type shit, and then you'll have like him saying oh, it don't matter if you're white, it don't matter if you're black, but then it's like black people, you're so nice. Black people, you're so sexy. And then like
Beautiful,
on one
intelligent,
hand
so elegant. It's crazy.
you have like fucking this like super sappy. I don't hate 1-800, but I do not like it. It's not the worst song ever, but it's certainly not something I'll ever listen to myself, really.
Okay, I gotta
But
be honest.
yeah,
When 1-800 came out, I was trying to build to this before Tim completely like went the other direction and started talking about how we need to murder people.
yeah.
we need we need to destroy the undesirables. What I was trying to say is that 1-800 is sorry. What I was trying to say is that 1-800 is easily the best song on this album. It's not particularly competition, and it skirts by being like a 4 out of 10.
I
Because
think
it's on its face like a pleasant pop song. Um,
I would say
it's a
low four
complete
maybe.
it's a completely failed attempt at being like emotional or sentimental in any way, and because it pretty much like it wants to be Adam's song by Blink-182, which is a song where characters just talking about how much they want to kill themselves, and then through some sort of like musical abstract bridge, they come out of it being like, "Oh, I don't want to kill myself anymore." It wants to be like that because Logic's references for like popular music outside of rap is like shitty pop punk,
Yeah.
and like bad alternative rock. So the song though, like as far as like actually listening to it outside of and like not paying attention, like I don't know the who can relate, woo, which is pretty embarrassing, and
Yeah.
everyone's made fun of that. But it's like what you actually listen to it and it sounds fine. I was actually sort of like relieved when it came on when we were listening to this because it's the only song that has pacing. Because the rest of every other
Yeah.
song is just, like, barraging you constantly. And here's a song with, like, some space, like a little bit of,
Sure,
and, like,
but
a
that's kind
melody
of
you can attach yourself to. And I don't mean this to be like, this is a good song, but as far as, like, I would take, like, some mediocre pop song over all of this fucking, like, vomiting bullshit that the rest of the album is giving me. So
I
and
mean
the
it
thing
very
is
well
that the
might
so
be one of the better songs on here, but it's still like low four at best for me.
Yeah, I'm not calling
I
it
don't
good, but what I'm
you know.
saying is that it is the best song on here without a doubt in my mind, simply because I would rather listen to "I Don't Wanna Be Alive" more than "Let's Bring It Back, Bring It Way Back, Bring It Way, Way Back," because that is literally just 7 minutes of being fucking yelled at by fucking Logic about how you're being racist to him.
It's like
It's just
Take It Back has a good enough beat to where I could probably be fine with it if it wasn't for like the last like 5 minutes of the song. You know?
Yeah, no, because after a certain point, he just stops rapping. He's just, like, fucking
Yeah.
yelling at you. It's
Yeah,
so
it's
like,
really
it's so torturous.
that's what like I said, Take It Back in America are like the two best sounding songs to me, but then they both get really fucking obnoxious for different reasons. I mean, America has a Black Thought verse and fucking like a
Chuck D.
really fun driving beat. Nah, Chuck D sucks, but
Well,
Black
Chuck D's
Thought's
good on the song, and
no, no.
Black Thought is great on the song.
I don't even think
It
Black
is
Thought is great on the song. He's good. I don't think Chuck D is particularly doing a good showing. Logic's terrible on the track, and fucking Black Thought. I think it's good, but it's about on the same level as like most of like Game Theory, I guess. Which, to be fair, is the last like Roots album I heard. Um, but I don't know. I mean, I probably need to listen to more Black Thought because he is really good as an MC. But this is not like peak Black Thought. I don't think. You know.
well, no, but his peak is above great normally. On the best root stuff, he is far beyond great. And here,
I
I think for what little time he's allowed, he has a great showing. And
off
Chuck D is
top.
also a breath of fresh air. But man, like every time it goes back to Logic, the song just dies.
Well, also, I mean, well, okay. First off, is Things Fall Apart conscious? Because I would like to do it on this pod if so.
I mean, you could call it in part conscious. I wouldn't really call it entirely so.
Okay. Yeah, we'll figure it out. But yeah, no. Like I said, Black Thought is pretty good on the song. Chuck D, I don't think he's great, but I mean, he is kind of a breath of fresh air compared to. Like, I'd rather listen to Chuck D's first than Logic's verses, but like, I still don't think Chuck D's like that doing that great here. Logic on this song, America, is so fucking obnoxious though. Like like he's like fucking getting on Kanye about the Trump shit, but it's just so fucking like there's a way to do it without being a complete cuckold, you know? And he
Well,
doesn't
I
even
think
get
it's
fucking
really
close.
one of the worst and best age lines in this is when he says, "Fuck it, I'll say what Kanye won't."
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I don't know, man. And it's like I I think we talked about this in the listening party chat briefly, but it's like George Bush don't care about black people. 2017 and Donald Trump the sequel. But it's like, if you're Mexican maybe, but like since when is fucking Trump anti-black? You know?
I mean, I think there was something about the way a hotel that he did not manage was being managed was against black people.
Oh no. I think one black person got fired. That's like all I can remember from that story. And like
I,
nobody could ever point to anything else. It's like and what's crazy is like before 2016, black people fucking loved Trump, you know? I don't know if Trump
yeah.
loved him back, but fucking like Trump was like,
There were several black what was it? Apprentice winners.
also it's like and this is where I can't really respect because like I don't really love Trump. Well, okay, I love Trump like comedically,
Alright, here's the
you
thing.
know.
I fucking hate Trump.
Yeah. I, Trump is a person who I think is a bad president. I think he's pretty morally reprehensible with a lot of the shit he does. But I can't fucking listen to shit like this without thinking that like, oh, you support Hillary or you support Biden, because
Or
that is the
Obama.
binary of it. You know, you gotta like either both. Like if you're gonna fucking shit on one, at least shit like a lot of these, especially Logic here, because it's so like parroting. You know, it's so obviously just parroting CNN type shit, and because of that,
Yeah.
you get this thing where it feels very pro establishment, and that's not to say like, oh, it's either you like Trump or you're pro establishment, but this very clearly is, you know. Um,
Well, the what makes it feel pro-establishment is that there's nothing revolutionary about any of its ideas. It has a lot of sort of like autistic ADHD energy, but there's no actual fire in any of its like the way it's worded or put together.
yeah,
It doesn't feel angry or righteous. And I understand that Logic didn't want to make angry or righteous music. He wanted to make hand-holdy rap, but there's really nothing, when you start getting fiery and political at points and you're still kind of, like everyone needs to hold their hands and sing kumbaya, but black people should be doing it for themselves because they're black, but every other race should be doing it for everybody because they're everybody. But whatever, fucking all those contradictions. But
sure.
it's like that entire attitude, which he doesn't exactly drop for his political side, for his political song, but and that's kind of the problem is that his political song doesn't feel angry. It just feels like, man, Trump's like a bully, and like if we just like stopped,
I
we
think
could like
Chuck
be
D
doing
said something.
good.
Chuck D said something about Flint, Michigan, but and maybe somebody could fact check me on this, but how I know the Flint, Michigan thing was that was Obama's fault. Didn't Obama literally go there, drink some water,
Um,
and said, "Oh, it's clean"? And like, how
well,
is that
I
Trump? Like
mean,
the Flint, Michigan shit.
The Flint, Michigan problem dates back to the Reagan era.
Yeah, and
I mean, I feel like Chuck D seems like the kind of person that would like conflate Trump with Reagan and just all like kind of American conservatism.
yeah, but I mean, Obama was like did just as much, you know. I don't
I
know.
mean, I don't know. I mean that I wouldn't really harp on that. That's not really worth it.
I guess it's
Um,
just there's nothing else here though, you know. It's like
I
that's like the
mean,
only
you
like
have
that's the
Moz
only
definitely.
example of like an actual in America. That's the only example of like an actual reference to something real and not just oh this guy's a meanie and people are racist, you know?
I mean,
Like
I don't know, it's nothing to me. Just like I mean, everything in
yeah,
this album is nothing. I mean, the ending of
sure.
Moz definitely is just one of the most embarrassing things I've ever like fucking heard.
It is kind of funny though. Let's be fair.
I mean, it is funny. It's funny because it's embarrassing.
It's like the opening track is just a fucking nothing, and it's a lot of like weird religious sentiment that feels completely empty. Everybody is just a fucking kumbaya, we should love each other song with like no fucking nuance or intelligence to it.
It's also All Right by Kendrick.
Yeah. Confess is just like the same as the first two songs. Killer Mike is just doing this fucking weird preacher shtick that like doesn't fit like what Logic's saying in the song. Like it just directly contradicts what Logic is like the tone of what Logic's putting out there. Because I love Killer Mike, but he is very fucking spiteful and very bitter as a person. So like that kind of contradicts the whole thing that Logic's put up. I don't even fucking remember Killing Spree.
Oh,
Take it.
Killing Spree was the song about, social media.
Oh right, yeah. He's like phone bat. Like we see
Yeah, it's
each
his own
other
bad
through their
song.
cell phone screens.
Yeah,
Fucking
you trying to
shut
find
up,
meaning
bitch.
through a phone screen. Yeah, no,
Fucking
it's
shut up.
and he's talk
Take
and, it's also, I mean, a little bit like the chorus, I guess, is about how, Black culture glorifies, like, killing and death and shootings and drugs and debauchery, and it's just like, okay, well, for one, you are pro those things, 100%. You've bragged about doing those things, even though everyone knows you don't actually do it, and it's all a front
yeah.
because you are very, very open to taking on the tropes and, iconography and signifiers of rap music without actually representing it or it being authentic
Yeah, I
to
mean
you.
he has a song with like every Wu-Tang Clan member and like what do you think
Yeah, I mean
Wu Tang was
I mean,
doing?
honestly, if Logic had a more sober view of morality and he didn't like the image that hip hop set forward, yet was in a sort of, had his hands tied in two directions, being pulled in two directions of loving hip hop and it being the music of his soul essentially and being his mode of self expression and all of his heroes being a part of this scene, while the scene also at the same time representing something that he disagrees with, that could be interesting, but he will never, ever in a million years reflect on that.
I mean, here's the problem, man. A fly could take a fucking could like do paid tours through Logic's head, you know?
Yeah.
Like like there's not that much there. And then like I said, Take It Back, good beat, but he just fucking like I think the biracial stuff, there's a way to do it. I mean, like it's got to be annoying for people to tell you like, "Oh, you can't say the N-word because you're not black," when you're fucking like are. And also, like, his mom was like very abusively racist and would like hit him and abuse him because he was like part black. So it's like there's something there, but I think some of the songs on Young Sinatra series actually he does get kind of emotional and gritty with it. And this is not that at all. This is so fucking obnoxious and it's condescending. It's just like the worst way to do it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, now that I think about it, I think one of the things that kind of makes, like, most of this album so insufferable versus a song like 1-800 is that the entire album has this sort of, like, above it all, "I figured it all out, I'm full of love,
Yeah.
you're full of hate" kinda tone to it, but then
Yeah.
One 1-800 it has to have the pageantry of a pop song, so even in a sort of, like, bad and unconvincing performance of sadness, he still has to, like, not talk down to you, in that way.
Yeah,
At least not
'cause,
as
it it
directly.
it's been fucking years since I've heard Young Sinatra, I think 1, but the song I'm pretty sure I remember there being a song where he's like it's a story telling song where he's talking about his mom, like, trying to kill him, and, how he confused he was and how he felt like it wasn't his fault that he was born that way. That was like that's at least something, that meanwhile in this he's just like imagine there was a kid, all right, and imagine that kid was mistreated for his race, and imagine that kid was part black, and then the black people are like, why are you white, and the white people are like, why are you black, and that kid thought that, oh, it's like, shut the fuck up, man. Like,
You think he started to going to therapy, like, before this album came out, and that's why he's
yo,
like
that is 100% what happened. You listen to a song like Anxiety, one motherfucking 100%. Yeah, no, that I
Yeah, I
think you
mean
just fucking figured out the album.
Well,
Yo,
no, because, like, he's suddenly focusing all of his emotions not through, like, earnest self-expression, but through, like, analyzing it pretty, like, clinically, but saying it with such, like, undeserved veracity.
but it's not complex either. It's not like
No, it's
year
not.
5 therapy where you're like, oh, this is the. It's like it's like 2 months into therapy where it's like, oh, I feel anxiety, you know.
Yeah. "Oh, I have an anger problem," or
Yeah,
whatever, like, it's that
yeah,
kinda thing. It's just, like, the most surface
it's
level, like,
normie
shrink
therapy.
words. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like, you go home to your girlfriend, it's like, "Okay, okay, babe, we are setting these things called boundaries and creating safe spaces within our home to focus on my anxiety." It's
It's
like
like there's a Aesop Rock song called Shrunk, where he talks about going to a psychiatrist and how he just has all these defenses up, and he's like filling out the paperwork, and he's like, my social is Sudoku, my age is obscure, my my date of birth is like made up of a new language that changes hourly forever. And then it's like, I said I'm not your. She said I'm not your enemy. I said that sounds like something that my enemy would say. Instead of playing off the chemistry, she said you're being difficult. I said I'm being guarded. It's like, but like there's something there, right? The problem is, and this is something Fantano, I think, he sucks, but his review on Everybody's pretty solid, where he's just like, Logic is not the person to be fucking doing any of the shit he's trying to do here. He's not qualified for it,
Yeah.
Honestly, Logic would do well in like a music group, right? Where he can just show off and fucking do like these crazy flows and brag a bit, but the sole weight of the creative direction is not solely on his like hands, Like he can show up, do his part, but I think he would definitely benefit from like being in a group,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's I kind of hate it, like hearing him on a song. Like I
Maybe.
just kind of despise his presence.
Like I
Um,
said, like I said, most of my love for it comes from just Young Sinatra 2 and Under Pressure, and even then, I think both of those projects are sevens for me. So it's like not
yeah,
even like that much love, but
it's almost yeah. I will say it's almost comical how religion is such a commonly brought up and musically incorporated part of this album, and yet there is no statement on religion throughout it.
yeah,
There's
exactly.
there's nothing there.
It's
Like,
like
what
you
was
want to
it,
talk
Black
about division of
Spider-Man?
everybody. And it's like you're not
Well,
going to
no,
talk
well, like,
about the biggest defining factor of all of humanity, which is religion.
well,
You
no,
know?
because what was it? Black Spider-Man opens with like a black choir band, Jeepers Jesus or whatever. It's just like suddenly it's like, okay, so he's trying to make the argument that a black Spider-Man is sort of like similar to like a black Jesus, which is
I don't think he's trying to
embarrassing.
say anything. I think he's just
Yeah, well, see, that's what I thought he was trying to say from that opening, and then the rest of the song is barely about that or Black Spider-Man, really. It's just kind of just a bunch of nonsense.
yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, there's just no statement. Like, there's nothing like, he throws these ideas out and he seems to only appreciate them for their surface value rather than for
I
any
mean,
meaning
barely
that they
even
could
that.
possibly have.
Like, how do you have in one song Juicy J screaming over and over again, kill your motherfucking self, fella? And then you have the fucking don't kill yourself, baby, you're too sexy song. It's like, I
Who
don't
can
know,
relate?
man. Yeah,
Woo!
who can relate? And
Okay, well, you don't
anxiety.
understand, Tim. This is an album that is not only everybody, but it's every thought in Logic's mind. Every song and idea and lyric is another twitch in his face. It's all there. It's the stream of consciousness. Sometimes he's on the top of the world and he's egotistical, but other times he hits lows and wants to kill himself. And I'm just saying a bunch of horse shit. This album fucking sucks.
Like, let's look at this
Remember the
song.
song Africa Aryan?
Oh
It's
no,
fucking
we'll get
awful.
we'll get to that in a second. I want to talk about anxiety because anxiety, it's like,
Spelled with a
and
Z.
actually, both Take It Back and Anxiety have one of the same problems, and that's that they just have these fucking long, rambling spoken word sections where he's just ranting and rambling, and like,
Yeah.
I think like I know that how you feel about like anxiety and panic attacks. Like you think that
Not real.
yeah, I do think I've experienced it firsthand. It is very real, and I think you could convey it like with just with just a good amount of artistic effort and a eye for imagery and pacing. I think that you could make a song that would put you in the shoes of that panic attack and make you really feel and understand what he went through, the confusion of it, all that. And he doesn't even attempt to like create art from it. He doesn't even attempt to like make something to put us in its and make us feel something from it. He just wants to fucking bitch about it. And the same thing would Take It Back. You can use poetry in your writing and use imagery and use, you know, like personal frameworks in order to bring the listener into your world and have them experience what you're feeling and what you went through. And instead he's just fucking bitching about it, and not even in a musical way. You know? It's like, what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
Ugh, it's gross.
Honestly, if you like shifted some of the keys of these songs and changed and kind of like overall kind of like shifted the mood to be a little darker, this could be like his suicide album. It's
I don't know, man. There's not that much to it though. Like, and
well, there's not much to Logic.
yeah, but I mean, no, I mean, like, I think your mom trying to fucking kill you for being biracial when she's the one who fucked the black man is, you know, and then your fucking sister being fucking like raped in an abusive relationship, your fucking dad being like a deadbeat who's trying to fucking steal money from you. It's like there is shit in his life that's interesting enough to make music about, and he did make some interesting music about it, but I don't think he had enough creative ability to milk more than like a handful of songs out of all of those life experiences. And you know, I
Well,
think
I mean,
most of
here's
them
the
ended up
thing.
on Under Pressure or on like a couple songs in the Young Sinatra series. So by the time he got to Incredible True Story, I don't think he had anything left to say really.
Yeah, well, the thing about Logic is that he's not an intrinsically interesting person with an interesting mind. He is
Yeah.
someone who has had some tragic and potentially interesting things happen to him, but there's really nothing like there. There's no perspective
Artistry, I
there.
think, is the issue more so because
Yeah,
he's a fanboy.
yeah,
He's decently eclectic enough, I guess, and does take in a lot, but it's like I don't know, even like if you're gonna be a fanboy, right? At least try to combine two things that don't belong together, right? Like this album is combining Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole. Like that's not interesting to combine, you
yeah.
know?
With like some of that like kind of Kanye grandiosity, I guess. It's
Yeah,
sort of a light influence, but it's there.
but I mean, like,
Uh,
I'm not saying that this would necessarily be good, but wouldn't it be more like you said, like, oh, inspired by Blink? Just mix Blink and fucking Kendrick. That'd be way more interesting than mixing Kendrick and Cole. You know, it's like
yeah. Well, okay. So
something.
I went on a big fucking unfunny bit earlier about like how he's like his music is literally like Tarantino, and Tarantino is also a fanboy artist, but his movies are like cool and sexy.
Yeah,
You know, there's nothing cool and sexy about Logic. He doesn't, you know,
like, Tarantino's
when
got like guts. You know, he's like
yeah.
willing to take risks at the very
Yeah.
least, and you can
Yeah, he's
see
willing to
that in
piss
his
people
work.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Not only that, but he enjoys. You know, there's like a fun to it. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
There's
lo-
nothing like I said, there's nothing cool or
Meanwhile,
sexy about Logic, and there's nothing gutsy about it either.
you know what's fucked up about this album, and I feel like this is really. I think he is mad at black people and trying to blame white people because other than like his abusive mom, you can't tell me any. Like he has a line in this where he's like, "White people want to lynch me." Nobody even knew you were fucking black until you fucking mentioned it. White people aren't racist for being black. They want to lynch you because your music sucks. And even
Yeah.
then the white
Okay.
people are your only fans. Like no, he's not him bitching about biracial shit and talking about race and racial issues in this is him simultaneously mad at black people for saying he can't say the n-word and saying that he isn't black while simultaneously trying to get on their good graces by like fucking parroting political points that will be appealing to them, except he's not intelligent enough to do that. It's like he's mad at black people, but also wants to impress them and is throwing white people under the bus, even though white people are his only fans. It's fucking
Yeah.
sad. It's stupid.
I mean, exactly. I mean, the thing with Logic ultimately is that he's white. I mean, like I don't know, like he's not black. Like I don't think of him
I
as
mean,
black. I
I
don't like
don't give
never
a
thought of
fuck
him as
about
black.
race at all, like full
But that's not
stop.
even well, no,
You
no,
know,
I wouldn't even care. Logic cares. That's
but
the thing.
logic. Well, yeah, but logic cares because like people say he can't say the n word, which is fucked up. Like he can say the n word, and so can I. You know, I can relate to him on that. But like, make an album about fuck you, I can say the N word. Don't make an album being like white people want to lynch me. We should all just get along. Black power. Black people are beautiful. You know, it's like
Well, I
the
mean,
fuck.
okay. See, you did not. Okay, the Genius pages on all of these songs are fucking beautiful because Logic went through the entire album and explained like half the lyrics, and
The
his
fact that he has to
explanations.
explain the lyrics for this dog shit surface level album is so fucking
No,
embarrassing.
the thing is that every time you read a Logic explanation of one of the lyrics on these albums, it's 100 times more confusing
Yeah, no,
because
you
he's
you
just.
posted some. I'll put some on the screen now. But yeah, no,
Oh my
actually
god.
I might just rotate them throughout this whole fucking pod. But no, it's like when the Has Been Hotel Twitter account like posted like an Easter egg because no one cared enough to find it. It's like I
But
said,
can
Logic
I
is
read one of these?
Logic is mad at black people and projecting it onto white people while trying to be smart and intellectual, and it's just a disaster album because of it. Go ahead.
Okay. I pointed out earlier that this album's gutless. I think that Logic thinks he's brave because I'm just rereading one of these and it says,
Yeah,
and this is during the Moz Definitely outro, like the black people just fight part. And he's
yeah.
like, right now, this part of the song and in life in general, what I need, black people, just fight for your right, fight for your life. Yeah, man, yeah, I'm fucking getting up there and I'm saying it, man. Once again, I'm not
He
just
said
going to
that.
hashtag this shit. Yeah, I'm reading it right now. He said, I'm
This is
I'm
literally
fucking getting up there
hashtag
and saying
music.
it.
Most definitely is a fucking hashtag song.
Yeah, I'm going to say it. Like getting everybody a live show to chant that was like the go. Of course, because black is beautiful. But we're all beautiful. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's beautiful, but right now, this is about black people. People should feel great. People should feel honored and happy to be able to kind of be involved in pushing a race forward. Just a certain race, because I know if we push them up, then we're going to push us all up and we're going to push each other up.
Like I don't.
Fuck is that?
It's so fucking dumb to me that like people are too stupid to understand that if race matters, then racism wins. You know, the fact that everybody doesn't just understand that instinctively is like, I'm sorry, but like I'm smarter than most people, you know? Like, and it sucks because I really shouldn't be because I'm a fucking retard. Yeah,
Yeah.
made that song "Fed Kennedys" this year, and it's like, honestly, the conscious won't acknowledge individuals, and racism will flourish if you stick with tribal principles. If pigment is important, then division is invincible. Rappers, what are you doing with your music? It's so cynical. It's like that's kind of one of the whole reason I want to fucking do this pod is just because conscious hip hop is a fucking cancer for the most part. There's some good shit, but like the idea that race needs like first of all, if you're proud of your race, then you're a fucking retard. But beyond that, it's like, you know, literally, like I said, Logic is so fucking butthurt. Like his solution, like the path towards him not being fucking butthurt about race is for him to not give a shit. Him to just keep saying the N word as he wants and to fucking just talk about his life and not let people who don't know get to him. But instead, he's just fucking tripling down on the very premise that is putting him in a box to begin with. It's fucking gross, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
So it's
he
like there's that clip y'all always post of that genius explanation
oh.
thing where he's talking about like oh when my N-word daddy impregnated my cracker mama and you want to it's like which by the way that song Africarian whatever has like a fucking like 20 bar hook. It's like the fucking like it's like a long verse for the hook and he repeats it like 5 times in the whole song. Like the song is just minutes, and that's on top of a fucking like long ass skit at the end, and then a fucking 3 minute freestyle from J. Cole, which that adds literally nothing. Like there's nothing added there.
Yeah.
Is that a
But,
cosign? Is that literally just a cosign? Because I feel
it's just,
like
he's passing the mic off to a true brother.
yeah, but is that a cosign? Like was J. Cole that much bigger than Logic before this album? Because other
I
than a
mean, he did have
cosign, I
Forest.
can't figure out why the fuck
He had
it's on
Forest
here.
Hill Drive, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, does it have a song bigger than 1-800?
No, but when this album was being made, he didn't have a 1-800 yet, I guess.
Yes, I don't know, but he had Ballin'.
Also, I
That
mean,
was.
like, Logic was illegitimate, like to most
Mhm.
people, you know that
It's really
he's
sad that
still
J. Cole.
illegitimate. Yeah, J. Cole was brought in to add legitimacy.
Yeah, it sucks. Meanwhile, he got
Yeah,
Black
no,
Thought, which actually does kind of add legitimacy.
yeah, and I
Which
mean,
what
like,
was Black Thought's real? What was Black
I'm not the
Thought's like justification for hopping on this horse shit?
I mean, Black Thought's not the hardest feature to get. He's on some dog shit albums,
Okay, I'm not. I haven't followed that. Like I said, I need to listen to more of him.
Yeah, I mean, thing with Black, I mean, he's on like he's literally on Music to Be Murdered. I mean, he's not
I guess, yeah. Well, okay. I mean, to be fair, that's like the biggest fucking hip hop artist. It's a dog shit
okay,
album, but it's a,
I
you
know,
know,
but I'm
like
not I'm just saying, like, his own taste aside, I think he's willing to take a paycheck from a major label.
sure, yeah, and fair enough, I guess. More power to him. And I mean, for a brief moment, for like 8 bars, the album wasn't that bad. So
Yeah.
you know, like,
I mean, the thing
thanks, I
is,
guess.
I think Logic fancies himself a guy who's sort of able to channel like the history of rap. Like, like he's able to like he's hyper aware of it, and he can kind of in a postmodern sense break down the boundaries of hip hop and bring it into something new and sincere and big. And I guess I guess I respect Logic's sincerity to an extent, but there's nothing being said. And
Is
and
it
because he's sort of absorbing like 5,000 different points of view that all on their most surface level, they don't actually like blend with each other, so there's no coherence to really get out of it.
yeah, like I said, it's like, and I think, like I said, I think I got to the heart of it with just, I mean, he made this album because black people said he couldn't say the N word, and then he got
Yeah,
mad at
and he
white
went to
people,
therapy.
and he went to therapy and found out about anxiety, and I don't know, fucking,
Just
I don't
imagining
know.
Logic in an interview doing one of those like hack like circuit statements where he's like,
Logic saw Pickle
I
Rick,
had
and it changed his life forever.
I had anxiety, man, but I didn't know. Like, I felt these feelings, but I couldn't put a word to it. And then
No,
suddenly, like, it's like one of
no,
those like
it's like
things.
that Rick and Morty episode, Pickle Rick, where half the episode is spent with the characters going to therapy, and the therapist just like takes the subtext of the characters and just fucking lays it out obnoxiously for the audience. Logic probably thought that was the deepest shit in the fucking world.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
a lo-
I guess I'm probably too easy on Logic because I do like some songs from him. But any rapper who opens up their project with a Rick and Morty sketch deserves to be fucking publicly lynched.
yeah.
And
That see,
not
I
like in
want
a
to lynch
racial
Logic
way.
because of that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, how you gonna fucking how you gonna spend a whole fucking hour and 10 minutes bitching to me, and then fucking the next project you drop has a fucking Rick and Morty fucking opening skit? Like, fuck off, man. I guess the only thing I'm kind of, I think I said everything I want to say about the project except for just the fucking skits. I think that's the last thing to really tackle because they really
Oh,
are bad.
well, okay.
Um,
So for anyone who hasn't listened to this album, which why would you still be listening to this? Um, this album features a couple skits. It's actually not that they're really long, but there's not a lot of them. I
Yeah,
think
there's
there's like
three
four.
long skits. One at the end of the first
Yeah.
song, a 4-minute skit called Waiting Room right before 1-800, and then after the last song.
Yeah, and so essentially what happens is that it begins with let's assume black man. We he's dead
What'd you call
and
him?
he black. An African American who is so comically because obviously it's a black guy's voice, but just every detail about his life is so comically stereotypical.
Yeah.
he's like, yo, I was just trifling with my homies.
Not only that, the acting is so fucking bad.
Yeah, he's like, what about my baby girl? It's just like,
Yeah, and
it's really awful.
so
And then
it's him.
he
He
talks to
dies.
God.
Yeah, well, no, he's
He's in
talking to fucking
purgatory.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. And basically Neil deGrasse Tyson reveals to him that reincarnation is reality, but there's only one person, and it's that person, and he's lived every single life throughout time and space. And the whole point of it is so that he learns how to be a good person, even though it's not like a Groundhog Day situation where you have any memories of your past. And also it's
Everyone's
like,
always given a new chance to be great.
but it's like, I mean, they literally like point out like, oh, Hitler, you're Hitler and all of the people he killed. It's like, but it's so like morally gross because what's the fucking point then? It's basically just saying everyone is just a victim of circumstance. Everyone is the same person and the only thing changing it is environment. And it's like the end of like nurture over nature. And I'm not saying like it's entirely nature over nurture anyway. It's a mix of the two for sure, but it's like this really gross sentiment that it's like, oh, the only thing that makes you who you are is your environment. So just be nice to yourself, to people, and you'll be nice to yourself. It's like the black
Yeah.
guy's reincarnated as a slave owner, which you were saying. So in everybody, or sorry, not in everybody, in 1-800, the third verse. So he's like, I want to kill myself. Verse 2, I want to kill myself, and then at the end of the song, he's like, I want to live. And Howard was typing like. What changed? But it's like that song is right after that skit. So I think what changed is that he is reincarnated into a slave owner now, and he doesn't want to die. I think that's the
His life
message.
has purpose now that he can like
Yeah,
abuse other like people
yeah. Now that
freely.
he's not a black person in modern day America, which is which is worse than being a slave owner in the fucking time where you didn't have modern medicine or air conditioning. But it's fucking crazy to think about that fucking like homeless people in America probably live like more luxurious lives than like slave owners back in like the fucking 1800s did. That's fucking wild.
Well, I mean, maybe the slave owners only like owned one or two, you know.
I mean, obviously the slave owners had it better than the slaves, but it's like,
Yeah, I mean,
I
the
think
slaves got to live on the land, you know, pad the land and
no,
everything.
no,
You know,
no, no.
they
I'm
had
not defending
food,
slave. Stop, Howard. No,
you
you're
know.
not getting my pod
Sometimes they
taken
get
down like you got Bill's
some.
pod taken down. You're not gonna do this to me. Slavery's bad. Slavery's bad. Slavery is bad. That being said,
Necro-capitalism wasn't so bad.
but slavery's bad. But I think time is the ultimate privilege because like homeless people have cell phones and like air conditioning and McDonald's, and like fucking access to clean water generally, so it's like
I don't
kind of I don't know, I feel like nobody's
see.
listening this far.
I saw Django Unchained, and I remember the Don Johnson scene where he's like a slave owner named Big Daddy, and I don't know. He seemed to be living it up. I'd love to be that guy.
Yeah, I don't know, but okay, maybe
Yeah.
not a homeless person in America, but I mean certainly like your typical fucking like black man in America watching fucking Naruto and like eating fucking like
Cheese
fucking
doodles.
yeah, I mean like there's something there. I don't really know what
Yeah.
argument I'm making. I think I'm taking this for a spin while nobody's listening. Maybe I'll bring it out
Yeah.
later more polished.
Yeah, let me just say, I think Too Mad had it better than every single slave owner.
I mean, you can make the argument that he had at least more privilege. I mean, obviously, mental health is a big one, but
Yeah, he had the privilege of mental health.
no, I mean, like obviously, the mental health was an issue, but like
Yeah.
as far as
But
like
okay.
environment goes, I think
Oh yeah, okay.
probably fair to
So
say.
I want to like kind of talk about Africa Aryan a little bit because one, what an insane title! Like genuinely, just like one that's fucking deranged. Why would he
Why
even
is
name
the N capitalized at the end of it? Why is the N
he's
capitalized?
emphasizing the end of it all. Um,
Sure, but like, why is the N capitalized?
That's what I'm saying. He's emphasizing the end of it all.
Why is the N in Aryan capitalized?
Okay, so it's like
like
it's like a palindrome. No, it's not.
Nera Kifa.
Anyway, what I really wanted to say is that so after the Neil deGrasse Tyson shit, which
Logic
is
should just start doing clicking in half of these songs.
yeah, no, but I mean, hey,
Blaiden would
African neck
leave at this
rings.
point if he didn't already.
No, but so, so there's the Neil deGrasse Tyson shit, and that ends, and that's kind of a bad bad thing. It also contradicts the very like obvious Christianity of the album, but that I guess that's another subject. Um,
It also contradicts like the racial messages, the like it contradicts kind of everything and itself, you know.
yeah. Well, it's new agey bullshit that's meant to make people who can't think feel good.
Like I think that this idea of like, oh, there's only one person and you're reincarnated into everything, like that could be an interesting idea, but not in a hopeful way, not in a, oh, it's gonna be all right. No, that'd be cool for like a fucking like screenplay with like, I don't know, dramatic, like, oh, this sucks, like it's a bad thing, it's an interesting idea, but like the presentation in the album as like this like deep, like literally the character's like, wow, that's so deep. Like, all right, Logic.
I don't
Fucking,
like the
woo!
way I don't like Logic's sort of like millennial ass affect that he brings to the writing of these skits. He's
Yeah,
like,
well, no, and
wait,
the
I'm
skits
also
on,
heckin' Hitler.
yeah, the skits in Incredible True Story and even the Young Sinatra and even Under Pressure and No Pressure, all of Logic's skits are fucking atrocious. Like Under Pressure and No Pressure are like a voice being like, Logic recorded this song, all of the songs in this studio at this address. He was watching Pulp Fiction while he was writing this album. And then fucking Young Sinatra is just like this goofy fucking character and him just sucking his own dick. And then fucking Incredible True Story is just the worst masturbatory fucking thing you could possibly do. Like, honestly, that would rock if it
This
was
was the album that changed everything.
that would be awesome if you were like making a Mr. Farts album or even like a Ninja Sex Party, You could get away with that being funny because it's just so ridiculous that like, oh, this is the most important music ever made, you know? But
Yeah.
like he
I
did it
mean,
unironically. He did it seriously, you know?
sometimes, you take a big swing and it doesn't work out. There's that song, Just Like Honey by, I don't know, that shoegaze band, and it opens with the Be My Baby drums. And it's like, if the song that came after that sucked, that would be such an embarrassing, like, like reference to put at the beginning. Like you're putting yourself next to Be My Baby. And it's just like, well, the song's good, so no one cares. Actually, people think it's cool. But
Yeah.
it's like here, it's like Logic, fucking, in that album, being like, this is the album that changed everything. And it's like you
Yeah.
listen to it, it's like
What sucks
this
is
just sucks. Like this is so boring.
You got Steve Bloom, who plays Spike Spiegel in Cowboy Bebop, doing the voice acting, which makes me want to like it. But then it's just like the most fucking obnoxious shit ever made. And then the album is just, even in Logic's own category, like even in his own discography, it's one of the most boring, uninteresting, uneventful albums of his entire career.
Yeah, I mean, at least this album has the fucking
I remember
black
more about
people's chat.
Supermarket than Incredible True Story.
Yeah,
Fucking Supermarket.
it's pretty embarrassing. But not quite as embarrassing as a lot of things that happen on this album. And I think it just comes to such a pathetic end for such like a bombastic thing because it's really belabored by the end because you have that song and then you have the skit and then you have another skit that calls back to the fucking Incredible True Story skits
And
where,
then,
where
and
they got fucking
wait,
Spike Spiegel back and then it's a fucking 3-minute fucking J. Cole outro. It's
not
like
to mention
Jesus Christ, Return of the King ended quicker than this. It's fucking retarded.
the Incredible True Story one also has this cliffhanger for his fourth and final album. But then, like, his next album wasn't his last one, or even the last one before he retired, because he did several mixtapes and then Confessions of a Dangerous and then
Yeah.
No Pressure. But then he also came back after that. So it was like it doesn't work on any level.
Yeah, I mean, also Young Sinatra 4 was released as an album instead of a mixtape too.
It was? I thought it was a mixtape.
Yeah, it was released as an LP album release.
Yeah. Wait.
So,
Sorry. Logic made a song.
so you're breaking up. What was that?
I said Logic made an album called Vaccine, or Logic made a song in 2021 called Vaccine. Oh
Really?
no. Oh no.
Yeah, okay, so at the end of the day, this is like a 1 out of 10. It's really bad.
I like the production, and I love the production on 2 songs, and the rest of the production's pretty good. There's a lot of polish to it, so I'd probably give it a 2.5.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
See you
obviously it's
later,
bad.
everybody.
It's a bad album, but I wouldn't give it a 1. I'd give it a probably 2.5. I would
This
probably put it.
podcast
I would probably
Sure.
put it just above Revival, honestly.
Um, sure. I don't know. I'm not in the business of ranking fucking Logics to Eminem's discography.
Well, no, I don't listen to I don't. I try not to listen to albums that I know I'll hate. So I don't have like that many like two out of tens to like compete with.
All right.
Yeah.
See you guys next time. Next album we'll be reviewing is Oblivion
Vaccine.
Access by
Uh,
Lil
I
Ugly Mane.
I do need to listen to that, but no, we'll probably do T-Pab next. But I guess comment what conscious hip hop albums you want us to do. If we find one that we feel like doing, we'll do it. We also need to do that Ross Koss
Oh,
album
So
with
on Ice.
the one with that
Nature of
Nature
the
of the
Threat.
Threat. Yeah, that one. And then
Great song.
I think we talked about doing like Black on Both Sides, maybe too.
Yeah.
And then fucking I don't know, maybe like Talib Kweli album or Things Fall Apart. And then hold on, let me look at this list because there
Black
was a
Star. That'd be good.
Black Star is I don't think it's that conscious, but it's a good ass album.
Yeah, maybe
There's
we could
some
just talk about albums we like too.
I mean, I don't like. I think we can do good conscious hip hop albums too, but I think doing bad ones is going to be probably more fun. I put Book of Ryan by Royce to 5'9" because I thought that could be fun.
Oh,
I
is
put
that the
a
one
written.
with the? Is that the anti-vax one?
No, I think that's the one. That was the one with on the deluxe of that has one of the most obnoxious Logic verses on it. Um, but no, Book of Ryan was like the one he dropped around the time of Music to Be Murdered by, I think.
Oh no, Book of Ryan is from 2018. The Allegory
Oh,
was the
I don't know. Whichever
anti-vax
one's
one.
funnier. A No Name album, Sundial, just to shit on her. I put J Electronica because I feel like we can maybe have interesting things to say about that. Um,
uh,
I want to
J
re-listen to like
Electronica is like violently anti-Semitic. It's pretty
yeah
funny.
I put Like Water for Chocolate on the list by Common because I want to re-listen to it. I don't know.
Okay.
I think that this whole thing will probably be just a mixture between really terrible conscious hip hop and then Soulquestria music.
Oh yeah, music we like.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, but next one we'll probably do To Pimp a Butterfly. Though I kind of want it to be like a 2-hour pod because I really want to I put off making a video on it, and I think if we can fucking like go like deep into it, I think that would be good.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I'm
That
gonna
would
be
require a
re-listening
little
to it.
more.
I'll be re-listening
All
to
right.
the album after a while, so it's not even impossible that I'll actually like the album beforehand. But I don't know. It's currently a 6 for me. We'll see. There's definitely things I appreciate about TPAB, but also things I definitely don't. So it'll be interesting to see where we come. But I definitely want to just do a deep dive into it when we do the pod.
All right. Okay. I don't know. We'll see how I feel. I've really this album has shrunk on me a lot over the years. From sort of just generally my opinions on music shifting a lot. But hey,
Yeah.
maybe when I come back to it, I'll be able
Wait.
to
So what? Wait.
re-examine it.
So everybody was a 10, and then it shrunk on you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Man, don't remind me of my elementary school days when I was a big Logic fan. I was like on the
That
playground.
sounds like the worst fucking thing ever.
Yeah, no, I was on the playground, man. I was like spitting 1-800 from memory.
You're a Logic fan, and that's what you're singing. That's what you're doing on the playground. This
Yeah, no.
sucks. Holy shit.
I shaved my head when I was in 4th grade so I could be more like him.
Yeah, I wish that XXX fan fucking managed to stab you successfully. I fucking hate you.
I was out of elementary school by the time he released his first fucking album.
I wish that X fan got a time machine and fucking went back and stabbed you in fucking elementary school for
The
dissing the
not
goat.
actually Logic.
Yeah. I don't know. Whatever. Fuck it. Honestly, I
Podcast is
think
gonna
that we
need such heavy editing.
honestly, the only thing that can make all this better is if Logic actually does get hate crimed. That would make this all freaking. That would make this
Oh,
work for me.
dude, I have fantasized in a similar way to in
Oh
which
no!
Logic fantasized about saving his wife from fucking the mafia or
I was
whatever
waiting for you to
to
fucking
get
bring
her
that shit
back.
up.
The way Logic made one of the most embarrassing songs I've ever fucking heard in my life about trying to save his ex-wife from the mob so she'll take him back. Um, yeah, in a similar way to that, I have fantasized about kidnapping Logic and beating his children in front of him until he
Yo,
forgets how to
yo, we
smile.
need, next comedy album we do, we have to make a fucking song where Logic gets kidnapped and we have to rescue him from the mob.
Yeah, so he'll become your friend.
Yeah, holy shit. That's such a good. Alright, you heard it here first, guys. We're doing that. Holy shit, that's so fucking funny. Oh,
Yeah, no, I'm
alright.
down with that.
That's all I got. Anyway,
Bye.
bye.